Good afternoon. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about things that come up in ALJ hearing decisions that help to put a fork in your case, um, along usually with many other things. Usually one thing is not conclusive, but one thing, and this is a sample of a ALJ denial decision that I'm looking at, and it's part of some of the background material I'm using in a generic way to assist in the drafting um, of an outline for a CLE. So, you know how pain is usually very often a big part of a reason why someone is so limited um, in their capacities in which they can work. It could be time frame, it could be how much they can lift, how much they can be in their seat, on their feet, sitting, whatever the case may be. It could be from a mental perspective because pain can certainly disrupt concentration. So whether or not it takes away the ability to do a simple, unskilled, very low level mental job versus a higher concentrating job, obviously would be a question. But you know, there is multiple times when pain is going to evidence itself, either good or bad, in the medical evidence that makes up the foundation of a disability claim. And all of that medical evidence is in front of the SSA adjudicator and later on the ALJ, if you have to appeal for an ALJ hearing. Oftentimes, and it's just often used to when said in certain areas, is often used as a negative. I'll use the word credibility. It can destroy credibility, even though I don't think the SSA uses that word anymore. I think the new verbiage is to get away from such an offensive word and use a description more like it being inconsistent with the rest of the medical evidence. Not incredible, just inconsistent. So what I'm getting at is you see here, and I'm looking at it here, where the ALJ actually pulls out of the medical records various visits where, like many times at a patient, particularly pain management, or it could even be an orthopedist, wherever the patient is asked to describe the pain on a scale of 1 to 10. When people say a 10 out of 10, and remember, when they're asking you for right now, this second. Someone who says a 10 out of 10 might be looked at as being incredible, not believable, not being truthful, because generally a 10 out of 10 is the severest pain one can have. Now, what's the chance of with a 10 out of 10, someone isn't going to the ER? What is the chance with a 10 out of 10, someone's going to go to a doctor appointment that's not an emergency? What's the chance they're going to be able to drive themselves there or sit as a passenger while someone else drives? How are they going to get in the car? What's the chance of them being able to walk with 10 out of 10 pain to get there, to get to the car, to get from the car to the parking lot, to walk into the waiting room and up to sign oneself in or tell the receptionist they're there while not screaming their head off? The receptionist is going to call 911. So to say it's a 10 out of 10 can really, it's like that one in a moment thing where you say something that's so probably not accurate, but it can reflect, it's kind of like the saying that, first impressions kind of spell out the day, and that reputations are easy to get, but hard to destroy, or whatever that expression is about, you know, you gain the reputation now of it is clear to certain viewers or, a certain audience, a certain fact finder, that this person claimed 1010 when I highly suspect the person was not 1010 based on common sense and human nature. So we know the person was untruthful to the doctor on this day. What else are they untruthful about? It sheds a bad light on everything someone says that could otherwise be helpful to them. So I think it's so important to be very, very honest to your medical providers about pain levels and interruptions to daily functioning. And this is particularly true for the people that are not complainers, that consistently don't go to the doctor when they're in pain. They play it down. How you doing? The doctor asks. They say, "Oh, I'm okay." They do not share. They keep it very close to the vest. And these are people I know and love dearly. I know many people are just, workers, 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 and just want to get through. Maybe they're grateful they're not in more pain than they are, whatever the reason. Private people that don't even tell the doctor. That's so many people. And that's a problem. However, exaggerating is equally a problem, if not worse. It's probably worse because at least the person who never shares his pain so it doesn't come up as a shared event, a lot of time their diagnostic tests, it really tells the day. Um, and I think judges get very good at kind of figuring out, reading between the lines, looking at the whole set of evidence, plus at the hearing, getting a take on the person's, not all the time, but oftentimes on the person's character with regard to whether they are a vocal complainer or not. So it might give an adjudicator or an ALJ an opportunity to say, well, if this person complains, so not that much, it looks like it's a 4, then he's probably a 6. They might take every complaint to be mitigated, and then some way in the way they would quantify it in their own head, determine that if he's saying this, then we know it's this much higher. That could be from seeing things that are also noted in the record, such as observations of pain behaviors noted by a doctor. Sometimes they'll note that he appears to be in pain, and when he's not being, when he doesn't even know he's being looked at. The exaggerations, though, a 10 out of 10. I would say a 9 out of 10 might be close to that. I don't know that I could say that an 8 or a 7, but again, if you drove yourself to the doctor appointment, it can really belie the claims of how limited one is. It just might. So just be careful. If you're in severe pain and going to a doctor's appointment, and sometimes you got to do that, I would expect you wouldn't be driving yourself anyway. I mean, that's not safe, right? So use your common sense and understand that things that happen in your doctor's office, things you say, things you do, are going to be, when you least want them, in the medical record that the judge is later going to see. So exaggeration is not helpful. Anyone with half a brain can usually recognize it, So I would try to avoid that if I were you. It was pointed out here that it was found in medical records, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Well, she drove herself there and she was able to do the heel toe and the squat like a trooper, So it just, I guess, don't imagine yourself to be smarter than everyone else in the world. Just do what you have to do, and do it honestly, and do it openly, candidly. Don't hide pain, but don't exaggerate it either. What was that movie? A movie I was recently watching where the guy used a cane due to an injury on one part of his body, allegedly. And apparently he was using the cane on the wrong side. So it kind of deflated the whole sympathy factor for the injury because apparently it didn't exist. Don't try to outsmart the smarties. That's what I'd say. If you're yourself, you're gonna have no problem in that regard. Always be honest, always be open when it comes to your symptoms with your medical providers, but don't try to pull the 10 out of 10 pain after you drove 45 minutes to get there, chatted with the receptionist, play it on your iPhone, waiting for your appointment. Okay, not good. Not gonna work. All right, that's it. No exaggeration, guys, on pain.